Hey, you got JRPG in my post-apocalyptic story. Yeah? You got a post-apocalyptic story in my JRPG. Oh god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of a good intro for this one. Yeah, we're talking about Metal Max 3 for the Nintendo DS. Oh, I have got to hire a writer or something. Ugh. Metal Max 3 was developed by Studio Cattle Call and published by Kadokawa Games on July 2010 in Japan. I'd seen the name Metal Max pop up in a few obscure game lists and always wanted to give them a try. The series was originally created by Data East, the same company that made the Glory of Heracles series. After doing a bit of research, I was surprised to learn just how old of a series this was. The original Metal Max was released on the Famicom back in May of 1991. Over the years, there were many sequels and spin-offs on a variety of platforms. The latest being Metal Max Xeno for PS4 back in 2018. The series' setting and backstory is one of its most unique traits. Basically, an AI went rogue and destroyed the world by making an army of evil toasters. I'm not kidding, you actually fight killer toasters in this game. Any machine that was computer controlled was turned into a Terminator and wiped out most of humanity. The AI was eventually destroyed, but humanity is still struggling to deal with the monsters and eke out a living in the aftermath. The series is basically anime Fallout. Metal Max 3 begins with our hero brought back to life by a mad scientist. With no memory of how he died or even who he is, he became a bounty hunter and wanders the land in search for clues to his past. While the story may not rival that of Final Fantasy, the game is pretty innovative with just how non-linear it is. After a certain point, you can wander the entire map and take almost any quest in what order you want. Unlike the grassy plains and castles of most JRPGs, the vast majority of the world is a barren wasteland. Deserts stretch as far as the eye can see, with old destroyed buildings and ruined cities scattered about. Towns are far and few between, and can be found in unique locations, like inside a beach freight ship or an underground subway system. The game uses 2D sprites for characters and 3D models for the background. While the character sprites in combat are small, the baddies are very large and have animated attacks. Not the best graphics on the DS I've seen, but I've definitely seen worse. Like the settings, monsters are very unique, being composed of mutants and a wide and wacky array of killer appliances. You'll fight everything from self-driving taxis with machine guns, exploding cell phones, Mad Max-style gangs, heck, you even fight a zombie baseball team. Like Fallout, besides the main quest, there are dozens of side quests as well. Most consist of the usual fetch/delivery quests, but they also have a few multi-step ones as well. I like these the most as they lead to more backstory, extra bosses, or better shops and weapons. Unfortunately, there are a few quests that feel more like filler. A large chunk of them require you to collect an absurd number of items to complete them. A good example would be hunting down one particular cloud boss. You need to collect a certain amount of wood to lure it into a trap. As far as I can tell, the wood only appears in one certain area. Once you collect the 3 or 4 pieces in that area, they won't respawn until you go back to an inn and sleep. And because the wood is only in this one area, you have to make multiple trips to the inn and back to get what you need. Now, this wouldn't be too big of a deal if you needed just say 8 or 10 of them, but you need 30. So it does take a while to complete. You can wander the wasteland alone if you want, but have a better chance of survival with a group backing you up. Similar to a few Dragon Quest games, you hire party members at a bar and are even able to choose their gender. Naturally, I went the harem route and made a team made entirely out of ladies. What? Don't judge me. Your party can consist of 3 people and a dog, each with their own unique classes. The first is the warrior. This class is well-rounded in attack and defense, as well as being the best at using tanks. Second are mechanics. While not that strong in combat, they are the only class that can repair vehicle damage. They can also instant kill some mechanical enemies. They become a very important class later in game, as some bosses will murder you if your tank gets destroyed. Soldiers, while not good at using vehicles, have high defense and are good at using weapons like rocket launchers. Artists are absolutely horrible at combat, but have the ability to craft special, stronger shells for your tanks. Medics are the team's healer. Then we have, in my opinion, the best class in the game, the wrestlers. From what I can tell, they're the best at dealing damage, and basically they carried me throughout the entire game. Your 4th member is always a war dog that is AI controlled. I think it's a corgi. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know all the dog breeds. It was annoying at first to not have control, but the AI was good enough that I never needed to worry about doing anything dumb. As you level up, the party will gain new skills and abilities, like the engineer being able to fix more complex tank parts, or the healer raising dead party members. One of the unique mechanics of this series is the use of tanks during battle. They act as a second life bar and give access to powerful tank-mounted weapons. There is a surprising amount of customization options for using tanks. Everything from buying stronger weapons, upgrading the engine so it can carry heavier equipment, paint jobs, and even special shells that can add stat effects or pierce enemy defenses. With all these options, you can spend a decent amount of time just screwing around with your tank. But these parts do not come cheap. They are very expensive, and it could take a while to grind for the money. That's where bounties come in. Along your journey, you can take on the task of hunting down bounties. Bounties are super tough bosses that wander the overworld and certain dungeons. They are powerful and often have some kind of gimmick, such as having super high defense, being very fast, or just running away when their health gets low. If you manage to beat them, you can claim their bounty and get a ton of money. And you're going to need every penny, as upgrading your tanks are very expensive, but worth it in the long run. Now, though very innovative, the game does have some negative points. Some areas of the game do have very high encounter rates. Now, I play a lot of retro games, and I'm used to seeing these in these older games, but not so much during the DS era. Fortunately, it was only in certain dungeons, but stopping for a fight every 2 steps did get annoying very fast. While the vehicle customization is super impressive and rewarding, it can be very time-consuming, especially if you just want to play the story. Managing your tank's weight, shields, and all the different parts can be a bit overwhelming until you get a hang of what part does what. And it's not wise to ignore upgrading. As mentioned before, some later bosses are very challenging without having a beefed-up tank. Another issue was that you couldn't tell what items or abilities did during combat. Outside of combat, the descriptions pretty much said what they did, but once in a fight, they became super vague. For example, the healing item tells you how much it heals here, but in battle, it says this instead. Now, when you're in the middle of a fight, you tend to forget what things do, and it's just really convenient to have the reminder there. Once you beat the game, a few extra challenging bosses appear, as well as the option to play the game again in New Game Plus mode, with your items and levels carrying over. Despite a few frustrating side quests and time-consuming tank upgrading, I had a lot of fun with this game. The world is large and fun to explore, bounties are challenging, and the number of ways you can customize your tank is impressive. The game is pretty lengthy to boot. Depending on how many side quests you do and how much you explore, it could take 60 to 100 hours to see the ending. I was really surprised to see how expensive this game was. If you want a physical copy, the price seems to range from $50 all the way up to $120. I would highly recommend this game to fans of JRPGs, or if you're looking for your next post-apocalyptic fix. Funny thing, when I was doing research for this game, I found that I own one of the spin-off games, Metal Saga for PS2. I bought it from Game Crazy when Hollywood Video was going out of business. Yes, I am old, shut up. I bought a PS3 at the time, so I never actually played the thing. Might give it a try one of these days. This has been Megablade J. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the review, like and subscribe, and I will see you all next mission. Bye. You can wander the wasteland alone if you want, but you'll have a better chance of survival. You'll fight everything from self-driving taxis. Well, you got post-apocalyptic. Yeah. Well, you got post-apocalyptic. Yeah. God, too much words. If you want a physical. Physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Physical. Say the word. Physical. Why can't I say this word right? Good. Outside of combat, there's Cannot talk. God. Why is talking hard? Why is talking so hard? I don't know. It's just I've been doing it all my life, but just whenever I do this or record a video, just brain just poops on me. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know.